What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Take Three podcast. We're back here Wednesday afternoon, coming off of week 17. Little delay. Obviously, we usually drop Tuesday. Had a little postponement. Just coming out with a quick recap of week 17 now. On Wednesday, obviously, we saw a lot go down. We saw the Bengals suddenly dominate the Chiefs defense. They came out and did whatever they really wanted. We didn't see anybody really score on the Chiefs defense in this streak, where the Chiefs turned it around from 3-4 to 11-4. Big win for the Bengals. Obviously, they clinched the AFC North. That's huge going forward for that franchise. And obviously, just Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Zach Taylor, that whole crew to get into the playoffs this year was huge considering how they started and then kind of dropped off. But to hold it together and especially get this win at home, it was definitely, I would say, a statement win if I've ever seen one out of this young group. Other games on there, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, they kind of shocked the hell out of me. We both kind of sold all our Cardinals stock last week, and then the Dallas Cowboys. It's typical Dallas Cowboys fashion. You know what I mean? You get the home game. They get down. Dak Prescott starts putting some points up, and they end up still losing 25-22. That's just typical Dallas Cowboys, to be honest. Justin Herbert puts it back together. The Chargers look good. They beat up on the Denver Broncos. We saw Aaron Rodgers at home do his thing. They secure the 1 seed in the NFC. They look like, honestly, the Super Bowl favorite if I had to pick one right now after watching this weekend's action. But I mean, before we really get into stuff, it's going to be I'd say an episode on the shorter side since it's on a Wednesday. I mean, how are you feeling? Obviously, our spread picks completely tanked this week. We're probably done. But yeah, I mean, I guess the bright side for both of us is the Eagles clinched a playoff spot, surprising to both of us. Obviously, in our NFC's preview, I think we had them winning like 4 or 5 games. Shout out Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, and those guys really getting everything. And the defense as well has been pretty good. But yeah, how are you feeling coming off of week 17? Obviously, we're a couple of days past now.
Yeah, as an Eagles fan, I feel really good, right? Clinched the playoff spot, young core, 3 first-round draft picks. Like, on paper, the future is bright. Jalen Hurts keeps getting better. I'm not completely sold on him, but I'm very happy with the Eagles season. And then I think it might have been my worst spread picks of the entire year. It came right at the end, right when I was close with John. But there's one more week. It's not hypothetically over, but it doesn't look great.
I was going to say, we would literally, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm out. I don't think there's mathematically enough games, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a perfect week next week, you're going to go 15-0 on week 18 with guys sitting out, COVID
Yeah.
ravaging the league. I mean, if you were going to do that and he was somehow going to go like 2-12, yeah, I mean, all the power to you. That would be pretty insane. But I mean, let's just, I guess, start it off right in Cincinnati. Obviously, the Bengals win 34-31. The Jamar Chase game, as I've been calling it for like the past 10 minutes, because he just did his thing, like him and Joe Burrow as well. Joe Burrow 30-39, 446, 4 touchdowns. I mean, we saw what he did against the Ravens with the 500 yards, and he just comes out against the Chiefs, who are the perennial AFC favorite as they've surged the past 2 months. And to put on a performance like that, and then Jamar Chase, 11 catches, 266, and 3 touchdowns. It looked like, honestly, it felt like both those guys were back at LSU. It felt like an LSU stat line. It was a feast, do whatever you want type of game. And yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs defense, they finally showed some kinks. The offense was good early. They were up, I want to say 27-14 at one point, at least 21-7. And I was like, okay, the Chiefs, like, this is the Chiefs. They're just going to roll it. Mahomes didn't turn the ball over. They just they couldn't get anything going in the second half. And then obviously Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase just had their field day, get the win, big win for the Bengals. I mean, if you're a Bengals fan, you got to be excited going into the playoffs. Coming off of this one, obviously most of the guys, I already know Joe Mixon is out with COVID and Joe Burrow is sitting with rest in week 18. So you're going to have it's going to be a pretty juiced up crowd in Cincinnati. I believe they will have a home playoff game in Cincy. But I mean, what do you make of this game? I would say it was a stunner since the way the game started for me when I watched it and the way it unfolded at the beginning. I thought easy Chiefs W, like the Bengals aren't going to be able to come back. And then they showed some resiliency. They kind of Jekyll and Hyde mid game instead of week to week this way.
Yeah, I was incredibly impressed with the Bengals. The Chiefs came out there focused, trying to get the 1 seed. They hung 28 points in the first half and then only got 3 in the second half. I thought it was just an incredible, like, resilient performance from the Bengals. It was definitely the Jamar Chase show. uh, 11 catches, 266 yards. Incredible performance. That first touchdown catch, he simply cut inside and outran everybody on the Chiefs defense. He's just clearly like a step faster than everybody. It's so impressive to watch. And I really had the Chiefs going in. I thought they were going to, show that they have the stranglehold on the AFC, get the 1 seed. I thought they were going to cover the spread. I thought the Chiefs were going to look really good, and they had a good first half, but I'm incredibly impressed with the Bengals. As long as they can get healthy this next week, right? They are missing quite a few players, COVID and some beat up. I'm sure they'll be fine. But yeah, they'll get a home playoff game. It'll be rocking. I'm very impressed with Cincinnati. I don't know if I would put them as like the favorite in the AFC or one of the top two. It's hard for me to buy any of these AFC teams. Like it feels very wide open to me, but I'm very impressed with Cincinnati.
Yeah, for sure. Cincinnati's honestly, I don't know. They're weird. They're kind of leaning into that like Colts territory where I was big in, and kind of like Colts are the dark horse, but it's like the Bengals could be it. Those dudes, like, they don't give a shit. Like Joe Burrow, we've seen he'll just sling whatever. Jamar Chase is stud. I kind of like them. They have Joe Mixon as well. So they do have the running back. They might be sneaking into that team as well. But yeah, I mean, they'll be a fun team to watch a wild card weekend for sure. It was an impressive way to come back against the obviously the team everybody that was saying is the top in the AFC, maybe even they were the Super Bowl betting favorite in Vegas. I mean, it's a huge win for them, big momentum boost for that young team, as obviously they're weird. Keeping it moving, unless you had any other thoughts. We had Arizona who they picked their shit back up. They were on a 3-game skid rolling into Dallas. That's another team we were both like, yeah, I can't do the Arizona Cardinals. Like, I was done with Cliff Kingsbury. Yep, out on Kyler, out on Kingsbury. Cowboys will get it done. And then the Cowboys score 7 points through 3 quarters, and they just look like absolute shit. And the Cardinals, the Cardinals looked like shit in the fourth quarter. Let Dallas Dak Prescott's notorious for doing it. When they're out of the game, dude, he'll start slinging and putting up numbers like you've never seen, like a casino slot machine. It'll just start going off. But obviously they come up short 25-22. They are obviously eliminated with the Packers when they're eliminated from contention of the 1 seed as the Packers secured that. I mean, what do you make of this? These are two teams that are kind of like, we could see this matchup again wild card weekend, which is super interesting. They're both 11-5 now. It's just funny when we start counting out some of these teams. We start counting out the Cardinals, they get a win. And then we start like boosting up Dallas a little bit, and then they do this. I mean, what do you make of this game? And it'd definitely be super funny if we see this matchup again, wild card weekend, to see how that kind of unfolds. If the Cowboys would come out with a little bit more, you'd hope they come out with a little bit more juice through the first 3 quarters instead of trying to save it off for the finish line. But what do you make of this one in Dallas?
Yeah, definitely. This is another situation just like that Chiefs Bengals ones where I thought the Chiefs could create some separation. I thought Dallas could create some separation in the conversation. And then here comes Arizona bouncing right back. Road Warriors. Kyler doesn't know how to lose in Jerry World, the AT&T Stadium. I think he's 9-0 from high school to pros. It's pretty impressive, honestly. But yeah, Arizona looked good on the road. That's the team we've been waiting for the past month, right? That's the team we expected to take care of business against the Rams Monday Night Football. Secure the 1 seed in the division, have a stranglehold on the NFC, and then they've been bad the past month. We've been waiting a full month for this, and it shows that like this Arizona team can win any game when Kyler comes out there and plays that well. He controlled the game like start to finish. That team played really well on Sunday, and that's the Arizona team that we came accustomed to the first half of the season. But then it just gives me the question, like, am I going to get that Arizona team in the wild card round, or am I getting the Arizona team that we've seen the last month? And that's kind of how I feel with most of these NFC teams right now. There's at different times and throughout the season, whether it's Dallas, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Bucs, they've looked bad at times, and then they've looked really good for certain stretches. So I'm impressed with Arizona that they went on the road and they bounced back like that. But in terms of the NFC picture, it just feels very clouded, except for Green Bay. It feels like it's Green Bay's to lose, and then everyone else just keeps beating up on each other. And I don't know if I'm going to see the really good versions of these teams or the versions where they kind of make mistakes and beat themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good win for the Cardinals. I'm in the same boat. I'm not really jumping back onto the Cardinals wagon. I just think they met up with the perfect opponent that is the same type of team that they are, that'll look great, and then bang, it's like, oh shit, like here they are. This is what the Cowboys are. when they're not going ape shit, forcing turnovers and going crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's a good win for the Cardinals. It'll be interesting to see if they run it back in a couple of weeks, but I don't know. You're pretty spot on with the NFC picture. There's like Green Bay, and then it's a bunch of weird teams. Even the Buccaneers, now that they're kind of depleted weapons wise, they're another one of those weird teams, which we might as well just get into it real quick. What do you make of Antonio Brown running off of the field mid-game? Pretty funny. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, it's just something that I've never seen in my life. The story kind of unfolds more, whereas he had something with his ankle. He didn't want to play. And then Bruce Arians just said, get out. And yeah, I mean, he got out. He made his grand exit, right? A man, when you tell a man to get out, he knows how to make that exit. But yeah, I mean, now I start to worry. I mean, obviously the Bucs, they still have Gronk and they still have Mike Evans, but I mean, it's getting thin out there. I mean, do you think they'll call up Julian Edelman and say, you want to come catch some passes for the next month? Like they're getting super thin out there. But obviously the Antonio Brown thing is that was hilarious. Obviously they win 28-24, so screw the Bucs. They couldn't cover. But yeah, I mean, what do you make of that? And
what do you even make of that, right? Like Mike Evans went over there and tried to be like, calm down, bro, calm down. And then AB did his AB thing. It's just hard to explain. I don't know. AB has just kind of spiraled a little bit more year after year. And it's, I'm shocked that he did it to Tom Brady and Tom Brady's team, because Tom Brady's the dude that got him back in the league, got him on the Bucs, got him a Super Bowl championship last year. He caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. So I'm not surprised because it's Antonio Brown. I didn't think he would do it to Tom, but if he does it to Tom, he'll do it to anybody, right? So, like, I don't know. What do you even do with Antonio Brown? He's talented enough that I wouldn't be shocked to see him play football again in the future.
yeah, I mean, he's just elite level CTE. I would say that's literally all I thought when when that freak out happened. I was like, yep, this is literally we're watching CTE live in action. Like
that Vontaze Burfict hit back in the day. That's what I think everybody thinks of when he was still a Steeler.
Yeah. But hey, it was good to see that he got to the Brooklyn Nets game like the next night. It's good to see that he was courtside and that he's doing okay. But yeah, I'm spot on with you. It was weird to see him do it to Tom, since Tom Brady was like the guy. He brought him into New England. Obviously, it didn't work out and he got cut after the off the field stuff there, but he brought him in there and then essentially got him brought into Tampa Bay as well, even though Bruce Arians did not want him. And yeah, he kind of just stood up Tom. And even afterwards, Tom was pretty classy about it, saying that, that's a guy that we should reach out to and, kind of see how he's doing mentally. I think Tom realizes like he sees the CTE, like it's that bad.
and I think it's just one of those situations where it's like, he surrounds himself with what he wants to hear, like those kind of people. So it's like, hey, you're not ever going to really get better if you can't handle people telling you the truth or anything.
Facts. Keeping it moving. Indianapolis Colts, they beat New England, they beat Arizona, and then they lose to the Raiders. That's what we all saw coming, right? 23-20 home loss to the Raiders. Big win for the Raiders, right? Interim coach. I think I said last week, I don't even know if I've said it on here, but I've said like he kind of deserved the shot when he deserves a shot. I don't think he'll get a shot to be the head ball coach there past this season. But I mean, when you look at what he's dealt with, the Gruden thing, the Ruggs thing, and to have that team at 9-7 and vying for a playoff shot, it's pretty remarkable for an interim coach to be able to do that with this group. Carson Wentz, 16-27, a $148, a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor got another 100 yards and a touchdown, but I mean, it's a big loss. Obviously, I believe the Colts, they can still win and they're in. They face Jacksonville, but it's funny that they haven't won at Jacksonville. I think it's been since 2014. I could be crazy, but I swear I saw that stat somewhere where they haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014. That could just be some made up nonsense I saw on Twitter. But what do you make? This is kind of a game like when they beat Arizona and they beat New England. This isn't a loss that we kind of saw coming, but it's a scrappy Raiders team, I guess, to go on the road, steal this one and keep their own playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, a lot of credit to the Raiders and that coaching staff to go through all those distractions this year and to be sitting at 9-7 right here at this spot is incredibly impressive. So kudos to the Raiders. I hadn't counted them out. They're still alive. And then on the Colts, and it was just, it was a bad loss. They really should have won this game. Carson Wentz, coming off the COVID list this week, felt like he was sluggish and didn't play great. He didn't really practice all week. It showed. Carson Wentz is not good enough to miss practice and get out of rhythm. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He was good enough 1 year in 2017. That was fun, but he doesn't have that same kind of magic. So hopefully Carson, a full week of practice and another week off will get him back ready. If they lose to the Jags, they deserve their season to be over, but I expect them to win. I expect them to bounce back, and hopefully they get a little rhythm next week, blow them out, and they feel good going into the wild card game.
Yeah, facts. He should look good against the Jags, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. They're a hard team to buy going forward. As much of a dark horse as they are, I've said time and time again that he will be their downfall. And yeah, I mean, it can only be the Jonathan Taylor show so long. Once you get to the playoffs, you're going to see teams not willing to lose to solely Jonathan Taylor, and he's going to have to do something. And yeah, he's gonna have to be. He's definitely gonna have to be better going forward. They can still win and control their own destiny. They didn't completely screw it up like another team that we're going to mention. The Miami Dolphins go on the road. They were, I believe, what were they? They were 3-point dogs or 3-point
plus 3.
All right, 3-point dogs. I mean, obviously, still no Derrick Henry. He is practicing now, though, gearing up for the playoffs. But yeah, Miami, they returned to life to 18-38, 205 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick, no running game. They just had nothing, 34-3. They got their asses beat. Tannehill wasn't really great, efficient, 13 of 18, a buck 20 and 2 touchdowns. Donta Foreman did his thing. I mean, Miami they fumbled it, but I mean, they were a long shot anyway. It was fun. I mean, when you start on a 7-game losing streak, then you get a 7-game win streak. Yeah, they kind of ran out of time and they fumbled. This is basically their playoff game, but it also shoots Tennessee now into the 1 seed since they won, and obviously Kansas City lost. So it becomes super interesting now that Tennessee looks like they will secure the 1 seed, barring them completely screwing up playing Houston in week 18. But yeah, I mean, what do you make of this? Tennessee Titans are going to be the 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, good for them. They earned that. I don't know. I should be buying into them more because there's no real good reason for me not to, right? They're getting healthy. Derrick Henry might be back. Even if he's not, they've still managed to win football games. The defense and that pass rush is playing really well. I'm not crazy about the secondary, but they're playing good enough. And like they're figuring out ways to win. And next man up, when you have AJ Brown back, the offense all of a sudden looks kind of dynamic through the air again. And Tennessee's really good against the other good teams. I believe they're 6-2 against teams above 500. So it's like I have no reason not to be buying into the Titans right now. And they have the bye. I don't know. I'm not fully bought into Tennessee. AFC, I've already said it earlier, AFC just feels so wide open. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee wins the AFC. They're more than capable. Obviously, they're the 1 seed. I don't know if I would pick them as my favorite right now.
Facts. Yeah, they're tough. I don't know. I want to see how Derrick Henry is running. If they have Derrick Henry, it's kind of a wide open AFC in my mind. The AFC is going to be the Wild West. In my eyes, if Derrick Henry's back and he's actually he's not limping around and he's actually fully able to do what he can do, it's so crazy that I believe he's 6th in the league in rushing yards, and he has more rushing yards than Zeke, and Zeke's played every game this year. I know that. So, and that man, I don't think he's played since Halloween. So, pretty remarkable. I just want to see where he's at coming back, and hopefully he's back for the playoffs. Because if he's back for the playoffs, they're legit a scary team to go into Tennessee and face. Keeping it moving, what do you make of a 1-point win? Rams win by 20-19 in Baltimore. Matt Stafford tosses two more interceptions. They were going against Tyler Huntley. I mean, the Rams are a hard team to buy into. I've been out on them. I mean, Cooper Kupp's remarkable, but I don't know. I just can't trust Matt Stafford. He's a gunslinger, and it goes south sometimes. Obviously, I mean, if Lamar's there, they probably lose, I would say, but hey, they found a way to get it done. 12-4. They're on their way week 18 to securing the division because the Cardinals decided to fumble the bag earlier this month. But it's not really impressive to go on the road and win by 1 against Tyler Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, see, I was curious to what you were going to say about this one. I wanted to ask you about this one because it's a 1-point win, right? And Stafford, 2 picks, doesn't look great. I know there's no Lamar Jackson, but the Ravens always find a way to play competitive football games. They're 8-8. It's unfortunate how the end of their season has gone, but they always stay competitive. It's in Baltimore. Yes, the Rams should have won by more than 1 point, but are you encouraged at all with the late game execution? That would be the silver lining to me because that last possession to go down and score. They had a fourth down conversion to Odell Beckham, and I believe Odell had the winning touchdown as well. But like, are you like? I know it's not the best game to get encouraged if you're the Rams, but I am a fan, and I am encouraged by the late game execution at least.
Yeah, I mean that's good to find a way to still get the job done on the road. Obviously, John Harbaugh, regardless of who's playing quarterback, always has that team ready to go. So yeah, I give him credit for that, but it's just hard for me to buy into them going forward and going into the playoffs. I mean, Matt Stafford has 2+ giveaways for a fifth time this year. That's his most since 2018. He's just given the ball to the other team, and then he's thrown 15 interceptions this year, which is most since 2013. So it's just weird to see him that Detroit was holding him back, and he gets in a more what we would call offensive or quarterback friendly scheme. And I don't know. I've called him the bougie Jared Goff and in another group chat before. He just seems like, I don't know. It's gonna be weird for Sean McVay, right? If you've made a Super Bowl with with Jared Goff, and now you got Matt Stafford is supposed to elevate your team that much further, and he's just gifting 6 points away every week. But yeah, I mean, I'll give them credit that they found a way to still get the job done late on the road against a gutsy team. So that was gutsy at the end. But I don't know, they're a weird team. But I mean, Cooper Kupp, I like Cooper Kupp. That guy's a baller.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's hard to buy them as real contenders, but I feel like they'll, maybe win a game.
Yeah, I mean, they're still a dangerous team, but it's just like, what Matt Stafford am I going to get? So I mean, I don't think anybody knows. Like, I couldn't tell you right now what Matt Stafford I'm going to get in 2 weeks. I don't even know. He still has to win a division this Sunday, so it's like,
and that exact sentiment is how I feel about all the NFC teams, with the exception of Green Bay.
Exactly, exception of Philadelphia. I don't know why we're talking about Green Bay. Nah. But yeah, I mean, just two more that I have. Obviously, I'm going to chime in on the Eagles' rough start to the season, but I mean, they clinched a playoff spot under Nick Sirianni. They're now 9-7. They can improve to 10-7 if they beat Dallas Saturday night. Any quick thoughts on that? I'm super happy. It was not a great game overall, but I mean, the team found a way to get it together in the second half and get a W. Obviously, Washington's not very good. Taylor Heineke's not very good. They're kind of beat up. But I mean, just a gutsy start by the entire Eagles team. Good first year out of Sirianni to get a playoff spot and really get the ship back together after 5 weeks. People were calling for his head. I wasn't very happy with him. The 70-30 pass to run ratio wasn't very good, but he adjusted well. And hey, we're going to get a playoff game in his first year, which I don't think anybody expected.
Exactly. And so if I zoom out and look at the full season, it's nothing but positives, right? And also, like, if he kind of figured out the team and made adjustments, like you said, if we kind of knew that, like, we should be a very run-heavy team the first half of the season, I think we could have 1 to 2 more wins on the year as well. So I'm impressed with the performance as a whole for the year. I thought that they've looked really sloppy in the first halves against Washington and New York. They turned it on in the second halves of both games, found ways to get it done. So that's impressive, but they've still yet to put it together for a full 60 minutes. And, they're young coaching staff and the key players. So I'm not upset about it. I'm actually very encouraged with where the team's at.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see them get better mid-game. When you see a lot of teams come out off the script, especially teams like the Chiefs, like a lot of teams come out those first 15 plays on offense off the script, and they're just dialed in and everything's rocking. And then you get to the mid-game, and then they hit that rut. And it seems like the Eagles, they're like the opposite. The script, they're garbage. The start, the first quarter, the first half, hell, they're terrible. And then it gets to that midway through the game, towards the end of the game, and they find a way to get it back together. So I mean, it's promising. It's almost like you could say that the Eagles, although people weren't very happy with the Sirianni hire, they might have won the coaching carousel this offseason. It wasn't the flashiest hire, but I mean, he's got a playoff appearance in his first year when everybody they were looking on, hey, he's just a gap coach. He won't be here more than 3 years. Big props to him.
I don't think people were excited when Doug Peterson was hired either. And yeah, it was a short tenure, but great tenure considering there was a championship.
That's what I'm saying. Jeffrey Lurie knows his coaches. When you kind of look at it, he hasn't really brought in a bad guy. When you look at the success with Andy Reid, then you look at Chip Kelly right off the bat, makes the playoffs. Then you look at Doug Peterson, Super Bowl in year 2, and now you look at Nick Sirianni playoffs in year 1. It seems that he knows a thing or two about getting his coach, even though the public doesn't really trust that pick. Last one to kind of really wrap up, last talking point, probably a short one. Steelers secure at least a 500 season under Mike Tomlin. Is he the king of 500 and or one game, like just not having a losing season? I think it's 15 years where he's at least been 500 or better with the Steelers. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, we've said it last week, like Steelers fans praying for him to get fired. I don't think there's a better coach out there. You get him a quarterback, and I think that team could have easily squeaked out a couple more wins if they didn't have Big Ben out there. Kudos to him for getting the W in his last game, probably his last game in Pittsburgh. So I was, although I'm not a huge Big Ben fan, it was a good moment to see him get the win. The Browns are just awful. Baker Mayfield, awful. I don't care if he has a bad shoulder, good feet, hands. He's just bad. Like that's the only way. I mean, we said like 3 months ago, like, dude, if the shoulder is not good, just shut it down, right? Get ready for next year. I mean, you continued to trot out there. So when you continue to trot out there, I can't really make excuses. Skip Bayless will make excuses for the guy. Ooh. They told me that he still says it's Odell's fault. He says now the team shut down when Odell left, but I thought it was Odell's fault the whole time. The team was supposed to play better when Odell left. Yeah, it might be number 6's fault, but I mean, what do you make of Mike Tomlin squeaking out another 500 or better season and just the Browns mess overall?
Yeah, anyone blaming Odell is foolish. That's incredibly wrong. And kudos to Mike Tomlin, great coach, 15 years. Other organizations and franchises would kill for that success, including the team he beat, the Browns, Jacksonville, Houston. So I'm a big Mike Tomlin guy. I don't think you're going to find a better coach if you were to get rid of him. So, and also feel the Steelers are a quarterback away still. They have a good enough roster on paper. At least they have key pieces. So it was fun to see. Shout out to Big Ben, the Super Bowl wins. I'm ready for him to be gone, though. He probably should have retired a little bit earlier than this year, but good for him for getting the last win at Heinz Field.
For sure, yeah. I'd say they're a QB with a pulse away. We'll kind of get into that in the offseason after the Super Bowl. They're kind of options where they could look at for quarterbacks, which will be super interesting heading into the offseason. But, yeah, I mean, good gutsy win, and I'm right with you. Mike Tomlin, he just finds a way to get it done. So find a QB. Pittsburgh, obviously, you can't roll with Mason Rudolph. He's just bad. And, yeah, the Browns, embarrassing. Stacked roster, really stacked roster. And to only win 7 games, you're probably only going to win 7 games. Actually, they could probably win this week, to be honest. No Joe Burrow for the Bengals. They could probably squeak out an 8th win, but still lackluster season, missed the playoffs. It's not good. I didn't really factor that into the spread pick either. I feel like I'm moron afterwards. If I would have factored that in, that they were going to be eliminated and it was going to be Big Ben's last home game, like I didn't really factor that in at all. I was like, the Browns, like, yep. And then bang, look at a moron. Perfect time to move over to the spread picks for this week. Pretty shitty. Yeah, I don't really have words. 5-9-1. I got some work to do next week. I got to get at least 6 games over to secure a over 500 season, so I can Mike Tomlin the spread picks. Yeah, I mean 4-10. We literally mailed it into John. Any of these picks let you down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say about this week. I was wrong all the way around. It was I think it was the worst week I had all year. John's got a 6-game lead on me going into 1 week. It's not the craziest thing, but I sincerely doubt I can pass him. But I'm gonna go for it. We'll see.
That's for sure. I am completely out of it. I'll just say I don't count the Vikings game against myself because I pick them and Kirk Cousins gets COVID 10 minutes after it is secured. So yeah, that's not a good deal. That's when I knew the week was going to be pretty shitty on the picks. But I mean, that's really it for week 17. Obviously a little bit late, so it's just kind of a quicker recap. As always, the audio only link will be posted in the description. It'll go up at the same time that this video does. And yeah, we'll be back at it to kind of talk over the playoff scenarios heading into week 18. Some of the interesting scenarios with teams that are still trying to clinch playoff berths can be eliminated. There's super interesting one or a funny one in the AFC that I'll mention tomorrow. But yeah, until then, we'll see you tomorrow.